Discover the incredible transformation of Edom, Jacob's brother, and his divine fall from grace. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, the sun-noon shadows stretched across Canaan, where the fragrant wilderness whispered tales of divine promise and human folly. Here, the rugged hills cradled the tumultuous sibling bond between Jacob and Esau, born of Isaac and Rebekah. Sunlight bathed the earth, yet beneath its glow, contention simmered, for the birthright held a significance that echoed through the ages. Esau, the elder, emerged from the wilderness, his strong arms weary from the pursuit of game in the rocky terrain. With each exhale, he carried the scent of earth and labor, and as he approached his brother, he was met with the inviting aroma of freshly cooked lentil stew wafting from Jacob's pot. Starved and irritable, Esau demanded sustenance without regard for the weighty legacy resting upon his shoulders. "Let me eat, for I am faint," he scoffed, his voice a mixture of hunger and defiance. Jacob, contemplative and determined, saw an opportunity cloaked in desperation. In exchange for a simple bowl of stew, he slyly proposed a trade for Esau's sacred birthright, a decision that echoed the gravity of their lineage. Esau, blinded by immediate need, readily agreed, dismissing the value of what was divinely his in a moment of thoughtlessness. This transaction rippled through their family's history, setting off a storm of rivalry that would fracture the very essence of brotherhood. As the years turned, the sagging weight of their imperfect choices cast a long shadow over their lives. Esau, with the fire of betrayal burning in his heart, became the founder of Edom, embodying a lineage marked by pride and fragmentation. Meanwhile, Jacob, guided by the cunning wisdom of his mother, Rebekah, devised a plan to receive his father Isaac's blessing, the crowning honor that the elder son was destined to claim. In a dimly lit tent, Isaac, now blind and frail, called for Esau to hunt and prepare a feast worthy of his blessing. But time ran amok as Jacob, cloaked in his brother's garments and disguised with goat skins, deceived his father. "The voice is Jacob's," murmured Isaac, uncertainty trembling in his heart as he laid his hands upon the deceiver. In that moment, heavenly decree conferred upon Jacob what was once Esau's, setting forth an irreversible destiny under the watchful eye of providence. Esau returned, weary with hunting and laden with flesh, to the shocking revelation of his brother's treachery. "Bless me, even me also," he cried out, filled with disbelief and fury, but the blessing had been claimed, not to be untouched again. A hollow ache consumed him, as both divine intention and human ambition intertwined to reshape their fates irreparably. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. Esau fled to the wilderness, a man forged in the flames of resentment and harsh reality. The land of Edom became an extension of his proud spirit, as he grappled with the loss of not only his birthright but the connection to his brother. The weight of his lineage bore down, as disputes and battles echoed through hills and valleys, a struggle between two peoples that persisted for generations. As Edom hardened its heart, the divine call of humility faded into the shadows, growing more distant as time marched on. Yet, the question lingers, can reconciliation sprout amid desolation? The longing for healing etched itself deep within the annals of their history, waiting for a moment, a whisper of divine intervention, that might draw both brothers back under the covenant promise laid out by their forefathers. The tapestry of their future hung delicately in the balance, weaving a truth that would rise through the ages. In the days that followed, the darkness enveloping Esau's heart deepened as he toiled in the land of Edom, untouched by the covenant of promise bestowed upon Jacob. The shadows of resentment clouded his spirit, while he sought to forge a kingdom built upon his might and rage. Yet, unbeknownst to him, the Lord observed his path. Jacob, too, felt the weight of the blessing he had seized through cunning. The fear of Esau's wrath loomed large in his mind, and he retreated into Mesopotamia, drawn by a vision that his father Isaac had given him. "Surely, I will bless you and make your descendants as the dust of the earth," Isaac had spoken, affirming God's eternal covenant. In the silence of the night, Jacob wrestled not only with his brother's betrayal but also with the identity woven into his very being. As Jacob journeyed, the promise of the Lord beckoned him toward the land where he would one day return. Echoes from the dreams of the heavenly ladder surged within him, reminding him of divine favor. Nevertheless, the heart of a man is often clouded by doubt, and Jacob sought to win the favor of both God and his estranged brother, and it came to pass that as years turned like the seasons, the Lord stirred the spirit within Jacob. It was a divine summons that showed him the path of reconciliation. One fateful night, he found himself on the banks of the Jabbok, where he prepared himself to meet Esau, uncertain of what lay ahead. I will appease him with gifts, Jacob thought, gathering from his flock and herds the finest portions to send ahead, but on that very night, as he readied himself for the meeting, a celestial being came and wrestled with Jacob until the breaking of day. Exhausted yet resolute, Jacob clung to the angel, pleading, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." Thus, from the depths of toil and struggle arose the birth of a transformed man. "Your name shall no longer be Jacob but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men, and you have prevailed," proclaimed the divine messenger. The blessing of transformation had begun. Jacob now bore the name that would carry forth the legacy of his descendants. Meanwhile, in Edom, Esau wrestled with his own demons, the bitterness of betrayal festering in his heart like a scorching flame. Yet the soil of his spirit bore fruit as he relished in the prosperity of his lineage. But whispers of his brother's return reached his ears, rumors that ignited memories of better days when brotherhood was not marred by treachery. As dawn broke upon the horizon, a new light shone upon the path carved by their destinies. Esau, no longer the man he once was, brushed aside the wounds of the past to undertake a journey toward reconciliation. The echo of God's whisper beckoned him forth, "Take off your bitterness, and reclaim your identity as a son of Isaac." The day of reckoning approached, hearts tormented yet yearning for healing, as the two brothers stood at the precipice of their meeting. Would the seeds of reconciliation take root, capable of birthing a new story? The heavens trembled in anticipation. As two paths converged and the distant shapes emerged in the morning mist, God's sovereign plan lay hidden yet foreboding. What revelation awaited them? Would they triumph together or be swept away by the storms of their past? The question lingered, weighing heavily on their meeting, a divine mystique shrouded in promise, beckoning one and all to witness the unfolding of his glory. And so it was that as the sun rose upon the land, illuminating the path that Jacob had taken, he prepared himself. With a heart heavy yet hopeful, he sent messengers ahead to announce his approach to Esau, delivering news of his return after many years. Upon hearing this, fear gripped Jacob's heart, for he imagined the fury of his elder brother, the once quiet man turned by the bitterness of betrayal. Jacob prayed earnestly, "O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, I am unworthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truths which thou hast shown unto thy servant." His words rose like incense before the throne of grace. In this hour of desperation, Jacob wrestled with his fears but found solace in the remembrance of God's covenant. "I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude." Genesis 32 verse 12. He then divided his people into two camps, saying, "If Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape." This strategic separation reflected his turmoil, yet also a flicker of cautious wisdom. As night fell, his heart was restless and his thoughts consumed by what lay before him. In that deeper darkness, once again the heavenly being appeared to Jacob, beckoning him back to the river Jabbok. At the stroke of midnight, he once more found himself alone, wrestling with the celestial figure. The struggle was fierce, but Jacob had been transformed. He would not tire nor release his grip easily. The divine presence, sensing the resolve in Jacob, asked, "What is thy name?" "Jacob," he replied, disguised beneath layers of fear and regret. The being responded, "Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed." Genesis 32 verse 28. In that moment, the darkness within him dissipated, replaced by a newfound identity rooted in the promise of God. The angel, before departing, blessed him under the dawning skies. Jacob, now Israel, limped away, a visible reminder of his encounter with the divine, yet his spirit was lifted. At dawn, as he approached the place where he would meet Esau, Jacob called together his family, drawing upon the strength of his transformation. He bowed low before his brother, a gesture of humility and repentance. But lo! There, upon the horizon, stood Esau, with an army of men at his back. But what was this? Instead of wrath, Esau ran forward, tears streaming down his face. Jacob raised his eyes and, as they met, the years of enmity began to melt away. "My brother," Esau cried, embracing him. The bitterness that had once anchored his spirit was washed away in the flood of love, and they wept together, a childlike joy reborn amid tears of remorse. The meeting of the brothers became a sacred moment, watched over by heaven. Esau lifted his head and declared, "I have enough, keep that which thou hast unto thyself." Genesis 33 verse 9. Here was grace, unmerited favor flowing freely, not just from Jacob but from Esau, who had found healing on his own journey. And so, they embraced the promise of their forefathers, a covenant intertwining their fates, rekindling hope within their bloodline. Yet as they stood hand in hand, looking towards their future, a whisper reverberated through the heavens: what revelation shall unfold, as the seeds of destiny are sown between two nations? For deep within the recesses of God's design lay an echo of purpose yet to be unveiled, a revelation waiting to spring forth from the union of the brothers. For both Jacob and Esau, their paths were now forever changed, intertwined in the tapestry of God's sovereign plan. What further wonders awaited them? As Jacob stood with Esau, a new dawn breaking upon them, the warmth of their reconciliation enveloped the air like incense rising, fragrant unto God. They glanced over their families, seated upon the earth, their faces shimmering with the gentle light of hope. Though wounds had lingered through years apart, the embrace of forgiveness and mercy obliterated the shadows of strife. Esau, with unyielding compassion, took a step back and surveyed Jacob's camp, noticing the multitude of livestock and servants. "What is this throng that I met?" he inquired, intrigued by the lavish gifts Jacob had sent in advance. "They are to find favor in the sight of my lord," Jacob humbly replied, acknowledging the grandeur of what he once considered his possessions. "For I have seen your face, and it is as though I have seen the face of God, since you have accepted me." Genesis 33 verse 10. Esau's heart swelled with joy, his brother's words illuminated the newness of their bond. "Let us journey together," he suggested, and joy radiated from Jacob's soul, yet an echo of hesitation lingered. "My lord, I shall follow after you, but my children are tender, and the flock are nursing, let them rest before we unite." The brothers stood at the crossroads of destiny, their paths intertwined but diverged, a reflection of their spirits reconciled yet distinct. Esau offered, "Let me leave with you some of my men, as a guard of protection over Jacob's household," but Jacob remained firm in his resolve. "What need is there? God has blessed me abundantly, I will carry on." Thus, they parted ways, Esau returning to Mount Seir and Jacob journeying forward to Succos, where he raised an altar to God and named it El-Elohe-Israel, declaring, "God, the God of Israel." As the land stretched before him, Jacob set his heart on the promise handed down through generations, the covenant granted to Abraham, Isaac, and now himself. Days turned into weeks as Jacob settled in the land of Canaan, tending to his family and flocks. Yet, within the silence of his heart, the memories of his past haunted him like shadows of the night. His thoughts often wandered to Esau. He remained ever grateful for the grace bestowed upon him. Would Esau's lineage thrive? Would the bond they forged bear fruit in the generations to come? In prayer and contemplation, Jacob sought the Lord for understanding, clinging to the promise, "I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky." Genesis 26 verse 4. Little did he know, the heart of God was already revealing a mystery entwined in their union. Edom and Israel, a narrative crafted by divine hands. In the secret places of Israel's heart, God's wisdom unfolded. Both brothers would give rise to two nations. One would be destined for prominence, while the other would walk a path steeped in trials, yet both would serve God's divine purposes, illustrating the profound depth of his mercy and justice. As the winds of fate began to stir, Jacob, now Israel, understood the trajectory of his lineage was eternally linked to Esau's descendants, the Edomites. And so, an inner conviction stirred within him, but what will become of Esau's nation? What trials shall they endure, and how shall their story intertwine with mine? And so, in the fabric of their relationship, the sovereign plan of God awaited further revelation, poised to unveil the wonders forged in the hearts of their descendants, reminding generations to come that even through enmity, God's grace reigns and his purposes are fulfilled. What marvels of transformation and challenge lies ahead for the legacy of Edom? In the days that followed, the land of Canaan thrummed with life, and Israel dwelled in the assurance of the promises of his father Abraham. As the beauty of the land spread before him lush plains and fertile valleys, he remembered the order of his days, enthralled by the abiding presence of Yahweh. Yet, the echoes of Esau's laughter and the warmth of their reunion lingered in his heart, an unfinished symphony calling him to deeper understanding. One day, as Israel sat beneath the shade of a great oak, pondering the favor with which God had blessed him, a messenger arrived, his eyes wide with urgency. "My lord, I bring news from the south," he exclaimed. "Your brother Esau has returned to the hills of Seir with a great multitude. He boasts a mighty force, and word has spread that he plans to establish his own dominion." The chill of trepidation coursed through Israel's veins. "What does this mean?" he asked, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. "The children of Esau grow strong, and they would claim the mountains as their own. They rally together, driven by the spirit of their forefather, yet they understand not the covenant you bear," the messenger reported, his brow furrowed in concern. Israel, ever contemplative, felt a war waging within. Was this the unfolding of God's plan? A fulfillment of the prophecy spoken over them, that they would become two peoples? He fell to his knees in the dust, seeking the Lord's revelation. "God of my fathers, look upon your servant. Grant wisdom to discern your way," he prayed fervently. In the stillness, the voice of the Lord whispered to his spirit, urging him to remember the promise made to their fathers. "I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse." Genesis 12 verse 3. With a renewed spirit, Israel rose to his feet, fortified by divine assurance. "Gather your families and prepare the flocks," he commanded his household. "For we shall face Esau, but we shall go with the blessings of our forefathers. God shall go before us, for his plans are not thwarted." As night fell and the stars flickered like silver lanterns, Israel sent gifts ahead of him, lavish offerings of cattle and sheep, a testament of humility and goodwill. He desired nothing but peace between them, a testimony to the grace that enveloped his life. As the sun arose, heralding a new day, Israel found himself alone, his heart wrestling with the unknowns that lay ahead. He crossed the Jabbok River, seeking solitude, longing to mend the fraying threads of his past guilt and current fears. With a deep sigh, he sank to the ground, the weight of his lineage pressing heavily upon him. Under the veil of night, the air chilled, and as he wrestled in fervor with God, he encountered a man, a divine messenger, whose presence ignited a fierce struggle that would alter his very essence. Through the night, they grappled, Israel yearning for a blessing, a firm assurance of his standing before God. "There is a new name for you," the angel proclaimed as dawn broke, "you shall be called Israel, for you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed." Genesis 32 verse 28. The new name echoed in Israel's heart like a bell of victory, ringing with the promise that the struggles he faced would not end in defeat but in a destiny shaped by God's purpose. Yet, in that moment of triumph, he pondered, what lay ahead for his brother, Esau, in this unfolding plan of God? As the sun peeked over the horizon, Israel emerged from the shadows of night, unafraid yet burdened by the weight of what the future would unveil. Thus began the path towards reconciliation, not just between brothers but within the unfolding tapestry of divine providence, revealing the dual destinies of Israel and Edom. The story of their nations would continue, guiding hearts to the ultimate fulfillment of God's sovereign promise, for the legacy of Esau was, yet, intertwined with that of Jacob, foretelling wonders yet to be realized in the annals of time. What transformation awaited this brother who sought dominion? What lessons of faith would his story unveil in the narrative of grace? As the dawn bathed the land in golden light, Israel steadied his heart and prepared to encounter his brother once more. Wrapped in the mantle of his new identity, he sent forth his servants, each laden with gifts of livestock, as a peace offering. "Go ahead to Esau," he instructed them, "say to him, your servant Jacob comes before you, humbled by the grace of the Lord, whose face I have seen in my struggles." The servant set forth, while Israel retreated to his tent, seeking the quiet majesty of the Lord. He journeyed deep into prayer, recounting the words that sealed the covenant with his forefathers. Thoughts of Esau, of their shared flesh and blood, swirled in his mind. Would reconciliation come, or would blood once shed spill anew beneath the heavens? Meanwhile, as Esau drew nearer, the paths of the two brothers unfolded in parallel. The mountains of Seir echoed with the sounds of preparation. Esau rallied his family and men, their faces set with purpose. Yet, within Esau's heart, there were shadows. Fears of betrayal mingled with the fervent desire for dominion. "I shall carve my name upon these mountains," he vowed, gripping the hilt of his sword, "for I shall not be defined by my brother's blessing." Yet deeper still, in the recesses of Esau's heart, a longing for acceptance lingered, a whisper amidst the cacophony of pride. What victory could come from a conflict born of bitterness? In the face of approaching reconciliation, the words of their father Isaac echoed in both their minds, "The elder shall serve the younger," Genesis 27 verse 29, a prophecy shadowing their rivalry. As Israel awaited the arrival of Esau, he sensed the burden of generations shifting. The air grew tense with anticipation, and the earth beneath him stirred with the stories of their ancestors. He envisioned the blessing promised to Abraham, how it would swell, embracing not only Israel but extending its arms toward Esau, entwining their destinies in unforeseen ways. When the messengers returned, breathless and awestruck, they rapidly conveyed the news of Esau's approach. "He comes with 400 men, they exclaimed, fear lacing their words. In that moment, Israel's resolve wavered. Lunch sat untouched as he divided his household, placing the maidservants and their children ahead, followed by Leah and her sons, and finally Rachel and Joseph, his beloved. He spoke, "If Esau comes with wrath, let him see the multitude of my family, so may he find favor upon us." The night deepened, and Israel found himself alone again, wrestling once more not with a divine messenger, but with his fears and the weight of the love for his brother. "O Lord," he cried out, "you have led me thus far, must I terrorize my brother with the shadow of my past? Grant me the strength to trust in your promise." As the sun began to cast a warm glow upon the icy horizon, the moment arose. Esau, fierce yet softened by the years, approached, his heart pounding with memories of deception and estrangement. And yet could there be grace? When their eyes met, time seemed to pause, and eternity stretched within the lingering shadows of their rivalry. In that profound silence, the battle of their spirits waged on, a contest not of swords but of hearts. Esau broke the tension with the unexpected warmth of his embrace, both brothers collapsing into a moment of grace that whispered of a new beginning. The past seemed to slip away beneath the weight of a shared covenant, beneath the watchful eyes of the Almighty. "Is this truly my brother who stole my birthright?" Esau breathed, touched by the unexpected mercy. Beneath the embrace, each learned that God's divine purpose could bind even the most resistant of hearts. As they parted, brothers now reconciled, Israel understood, in the heart of both lay the complex intertwining of struggle and blessing. But the question remained, what did God truly intend for this union? How would their legacies continue to unfold, both called to be nations with separate destinies shaped within divine hands? Thus, even as forgiveness bloomed amidst the dust of their past, a profound awareness settled in Israel's heart. God's sovereign plan was unfurling, intertwining the fabric of their lives in ways yet unseen, and they stood upon the precipice of a profound legacy that would echo across generations. And so, as the sun climbed higher in the sky, painting the horizon in hues of promise, the two brothers stood side by side, redeemed from their past grievances. They beheld the vastness of the land stretching before them, a land filled with blessings yet to be uncovered. "Come, my brother," Esau declared, his voice ringing with the authority of one who had laid down his sword. "Let us journey together to my home, where I can share this bounty that the Lord has granted me." His eyes sparkled with hope, and for the first time, the shadow of their former discord seemed but a distant echo. Israel hesitated momentarily, for he was still keenly aware of the gravity of their shared history, yet he could sense the genuine affection emanating from Esau. "Let my lord go before me," replied Israel, "and I shall follow at a pace suitable for the children and the flocks that are with me." Esau nodded in understanding, for he saw the diligence in Jacob's heart, the result of a life spent learning the ways of humility. As they began their journey together, the earth seemed to rejoice beneath their feet, the rocks and trees bearing witness to their reconciliation. As they trod along the path, Israel glimpsed the distant mountains of Seir. In visions once veiled in fear and doubt, he now perceived an unfolding destiny not just for himself but for his brother as well. "What mountains behold our names, Esau? What valleys await our footsteps?" he mused aloud, drawing the attention of his brother. "I shall lay claim to these mountains," Esau smiled, a spark of ambition lighting within him. "Here I will create a stronghold of my own, for the nations that rise from us shall know our legacy. For generations may speak the names of Jacob's children and Esau's kin alike." In this moment, both brothers recognized the profound truth dwelling within their spirits: the promise of their lineage was larger than their rivalry. God's intentions were woven into their very beings, a tapestry that could not be easily unraveled. Days turned into weeks as they journeyed together, sharing stories of their lives apart. Israel spoke of his encounters with the Lord, of vows and visions, while Esau recounted his time in the land, tales of struggle and triumph, of building a life amid the shadows of the past. But within the heart of Esau, there wrestled a darker whisper. The weight of their shared bloodline began to stir a restlessness. "What if you, my brother, are destined to rise above, while I am merely to serve?" he voiced one twilight evening, embers glowing softly in the encroaching night. Yet Israel met his brother's fears with a gaze that held steadfast trust. "The Almighty has spoken, Esau. The oracle of our father is upon us, the elder shall serve the younger. Doubt not his design, for I see a great nation forming in you too. Our blessings shall be twofold." With that word, the promise loomed large between them, and both felt the weight of their destiny surge. Yet as they camped beneath the stars, shadows lingered in the edges of their visions. Each brother, in their heart of hearts, sensed that their paths would diverge once more. "My brother," Israel murmured in the stillness of the night, "as we part, may we carve our names in the annals of history, but heed the warning of the Lord. Desires can lead one astray when not kept in the light of his purpose." A silence fell like a dew over the land, thick with anticipation and a profound mixture of hope and trepidation. And so it was that the brothers journeyed towards the realization of their destinies, for even in the peace found, a foreboding question loomed: would the legacy of Esau emerge as a mighty nation of strength, or would jealousy and bitterness poison the roots of their connection, marking the fall of Edom in the great saga of God's unfolding history? God had composed a beautiful song of reconciliation, yet the symphony of their lives promised further harmonies and discord. And thus, the question lingered: what would become of the sons of Isaac and Rebekah as they walked into the shadows of the future, knowing not what awaited them? As the sun set behind the hills, casting long shadows over the land, the two brothers came to the borders of Esau's domain. Here, the air was thick with anticipation, for both knew that though they had reconciled, the true test of their bond had yet to come. "Behold!" Esau exclaimed, gesturing grandly. "This land, rich and fruitful, now lays before you. Here shall I dwell, and here shall my descendants thrive." A glint of pride shone in his eyes, yet Israel felt a stirring within his spirit, a caution that urged him to look beyond the surface of what lay before them. "My brother," he replied softly, "this land is indeed bountiful, but let us not forget the Lord's words concerning the future of our houses." His voice trembled with a mixture of hope and concern. "Do not speak of such things," Esau retorted. "We are men of strength, and together we shall forge our own paths. The past is behind us, Jacob." The resolve in Esau's tone echoed against the surrounding mountains, yet there lingered a shadow of doubt in his heart, and so, as the days unfolded, the brothers parted ways, each embarking on his own journey. Esau took to the rugged terrain, where he would build a fortress to safeguard his flocks and raise a nation in the mountains of Seir, while Israel turned towards the land of Canaan, a journey heavy with divine encounters yet anticipated. As Israel trekked towards his destiny, he paused to offer a prayer beneath the stars that had watched over his family through ages. O Lord, the God of my father Abraham and Isaac, fulfill your promise unto me, but guard my brother as well, he entreated. May his heart be stayed upon you, lest ambition lead him astray. In Esau's camp, however, ambition surged like a wildfire. He gathered warriors and cultivated the land, unaware of the subtle shifts in his heart. The moments of joy were clouded by whispers of discontent. Shall I be seen as lesser, he mused in the quiet, the man who serves a brother who has taken from me what rightfully was mine? As the months passed, their paths blurred with longing and uncertainty. The bond forged by reconciliation seemed frayed by the weight of expectation. Esau became embroiled in the affairs of men, his heart hardened by pride. He turned more to the ways of the world than to the path of his forefathers. One pivotal night, while Israel rested in the land of Canaan under the open sky, he felt a deep unease settle over him. The Lord called to him in a vision, and he beheld a ladder ascending into heaven, with angels ascending and descending. Jacob, a voice thundered through the night. Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have wrestled with God and with men and have prevailed. Yet even as he encountered this divine transformation, a somber vision of Esau flashed before him. He saw his brother, the once beloved hunter, surrounded by discord, nations rising yet threatened by the bitterness of his heart. The legacy of strength would not come without its trials, as the paths of the two brothers were diverging ever more starkly in their choices. Lord! Cried Israel, falling prostrate. What shall be the end of this division? Will your promise stand unfulfilled in the face of our frailty? And so, the Lord responded, though you are redeemed, the hearts of men can wander. It is by their choices that destinies are forged. Pray for Esau, for he may yet turn back to me. Yet, deep within Esau, a tempest brewed, drawing him away from the heritage of the covenant, towards desires that whispered sweetly yet led to destruction. As he stood amid his growing nation, an ember of jealousy ignited, creating within him a fracture that threatened to unravel the promise. Would the bond of brotherhood remain unbroken, or would the heart of Esau yield to darkness? The weight of each choice loomed heavy as they ventured deeper into their destinies, for a sovereign plan lay gestating within the crucible of their lives, a plan that even now was weaving through the fabric of the ages, awaiting its divine fulfillment. As the dawn broke over the hills of Canaan, Israel rose with the sun, his heart heavy yet filled with expectation. He knelt at the altar he had erected, and with fervent prayer he sought the Lord's guidance. O God of my fathers, he implored, lead me in the ways of righteousness. May your favor rest upon my family and upon my brother, Esau, that he may turn his heart back to you. In these supplications, God responded not with immediate clarity, but with an unshakable assurance that his covenant would endure. For Israel knew the promise, I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, Genesis 12 verse 2. Clothed with boldness from above, he set forth on his journey, believing that the land of Canaan would be the foundation of a legacy ordained by the Almighty. Meanwhile, Esau escalated his endeavors in the rugged land of Seir, his ambitions growing like the wildflowers among the stones. With strength, he fortified his camp, building dwellings that contrasted sharply against the harsh landscape. Yet, within his heart, a tempest raged. Why does my brother prosper? Shall I remain forever in his shadow? He brooded, seeking power and dominion among his growing number of followers. The whispers of envy took root. One fateful gathering arose as Esau called upon the leaders of his clans. Under the vast canopy of the sky, a council convened. Brothers! Esau exclaimed, his voice echoing in the canyons. Shall we not carve our own destiny? Let us become a great people, greater than those who dwell to the north. We shall be formidable. Yet among the ranks, murmurs of hesitancy surfaced. But what of our brother, Jacob? Is it wise to provoke him further? Hesitation hung about the leaders, as they remembered the bond once shared. Fear not. Esau thundered, his pride igniting the resolve of his followers. No man shall stand before us. Our might is our strength, we will take what belongs to us. The unsettling weight of his ambition slowly morphed Esau, drawing him toward the shadows of discord and discontent. As the sun sank lower each day, his heart grew colder. He turned to the vices that the world offered: wealth, conflict, and power to forge his name among warring nations. From his quiet encampment, Israel remained in prayer, fasting for his brother and searching the heart of God. In visions returned, the word of the Lord came to him: "Prepare to meet your brother, for the day of reckoning approaches." The Lord's voice throbbed with urgency, as Israel sensed that the time had come for a confrontation not of swords but of hearts. "Lord," he prayed, "what shall I bring to this encounter?" He remembered the gifts he had received and the blessings of covenant, seeking to soften the heart of Esau with gestures of goodwill. With careful hands, he prepared a multitude of offerings: fleece, cattle, goats, and provisions meant to express his humility and the spirit of reconciliation. As Israel sent forth these gifts ahead of him, he wrestled within himself, anticipating the moment when he would stand before Esau. The burden of worry clung to his soul, for he had seen in a vision what saved him from despair. Esau's heart might yet be reclaimed from the brink of darkness. The night was upon them when Israel crossed over the river Jabbok, setting his sights toward the horizon where his brother dwelled. Alone under the stars, he wrestled again, not with a man, but with his own fears, with the shadow of his brother's rage, and the promise of what lay ahead. And as the stars twinkled overhead, bringing forth the mystery of tomorrow, a divine promise echoed in his spirit: the path toward reconciliation is paved with sacrifice. Would Esau's heart be softened, or had the wayward journey of pride irrevocably changed the course of his life? With the dawn coming, the answer lay just beyond the horizon, waiting for the appointed time of God's sovereign revelation. In the fullness of time, when the sun heralded a day crowned with promise, Israel, formerly Jacob, stood at the threshold of reunion, a deep serenity enveloping his heart. The waters of the Jabbok flowed silently at his feet, symbolizing the tumultuous journey he traversed, both physically and spiritually. Now clothed in the mantle of Israel, he bore a new identity, emboldened by the revelation of God's favor. As the morning light began to bathe the land in golden hues, Israel prepared himself for the encounter that loomed ahead. The myriad of gifts he had sent forth were now approaching their intended target: his brother, Esau. Each offering was more than mere livestock; they represented humility, a desire for reconciliation, and a farewell to years steeped in estrangement. "O Lord," he prayed, peering into the depths of his soul, "grant me peace in this meeting. Let your presence guide my brother to mercy, lest fear take root again in his heart." Meanwhile, in the rugged hills of Seir, Esau, once the proud hunter, contemplated the news of his brother's return with a heart wrought with conflicting emotions. Pride and ambition had been his heavy crown, leading him to claim dominion over the land yet barren of true joy. As he gazed upon the horizon, memories of laughter and brotherhood flickered within him, now tainted by echoes of betrayal. "What if he seeks me only to dredge up the past?" he thought, allowing the ghosts of resentment to whisper insidiously within. Nevertheless, compelled by an unexpected longing to heal the bond that had once defined him, Esau gathered his men and set forth towards the meeting with determination. Despite the weight of his pride, the call for reconciliation whispered to his spirit, urging him from the depths of animosity towards the path of return. As the two brothers approached each other across the vast earth, an electric anticipation sparked in the air, laden with fear and hope. Israel, seeing Esau in the distance, took a deep breath, his heart racing like a drum in his chest. He bowed low, an expression of vulnerability and repentance, presenting himself before Esau, the elder brother. Esau's initial trepidation melted away as he ran forward. With arms outstretched, he embraced Israel, their souls intertwining in a warmth that banished years of estrangement. Tears flowed freely, carving paths down their cheeks, washing away the bitterness and pain that had marred their relationship for so long. "Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God," Israel exclaimed, overwhelmed by the grace that enveloped him in that divine moment. Esau stepped back slightly, his heart swelling as he studied the face of his brother, softened by years of longing and reflection. "I have enough," he declared, waving a hand toward the offerings Israel had sent. "What I seek is the bond of family, not wealth. Let us begin anew." In that moment, the path of legacy shifted. No longer were they defined solely by the tensions of their past but rather by a divine promise that wove their destinies together. Each brother understood that their paths would run parallel in the tapestry of history. Esau destined to birth the nation of Edom, and Israel, the nation of Israel, intertwined, yet unique in purpose. As they journeyed forth together, stories blossomed from their lips, weaving a fabric of forgiveness and grace, a testament to the miraculous power of reconciliation. Together, they traversed the land, embracing who they were meant to be, each bearing the blessings of their fathers, ready to build futures aflame with hope, yet lurking in the shadows. The legacy of Esau and the tale of Edom underwent a divine metamorphosis. While the world may have perceived Edom as lesser, the truth lay within the heart of its legacy, an embodiment of God's unwavering mercy. For he who once wrestled with hatred now stood as a man cherished by the Almighty, pivoting his path toward strength and humility, and so it was that the tale of two brothers became a timeless saga, echoing through the annals of history, a profound reminder to generations that the covenant of the Lord stands firm even amid division, and unity can spring forth from the ashes of conflict. In this divine orchestration, hearts lay bare, yearning for restoration beneath the cloak of grace. As time moved forward, Jacob became Israel, embraced his destiny with thankfulness, and Esau, with the strength of resolution, led his people into the unique purpose God ordained. Their lineage would flourish, not merely as descendants marked by rivalry, but as reflections of divine love, grace, and redemption, a testimony that even in the lowest valleys, love can rise and conquer. Dear friends, may we grasp our spiritual inheritance, embracing the call of reconciliation and the wisdom of God's design. In the tapestry of life's struggles, let us find solace in the promise that our paths, the path of Edom and the path of Israel, are but threads in his grand narrative, following the divine promise of restoration and healing. If this powerful story has touched your heart, you need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's Word. This is the moment to help spread biblical truth to many souls. Leave a like now to help further the reach of God's message, and comment your reflections on how this biblical account impacted your faith. And don't wait even one more second to share this life-changing testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's incredible truth today.